Hey everybody! Today we are talking about Musashi by Eiji Yoshikawa. Musashi is a samurai epic that I am currently loving. I haven't actually read the whole thing, as you can see, because there are 7 books put together into this, and I so far have read the first 3. So book 1 is Earth, book 2 is Water, and book 3 is Fire. And those are the 3 that I have read to so far. So I'm on book 4 now, which is Wind. And I just thought it would be better to split this review up into 2 sections because it is such a massive book that it is taking me a long time to get through it. And I don't want to forget all of my thoughts before I get to the end. So I wanted to just do a little check-in halfway through. I actually started reading this in November. And I realized that it was going to take me quite a long time because I also wanted to read other books during the winter time. I wanted to read some Christmas books because of how big this book is. I knew it would take me months just to get through it if I did it all at once. So that's one of the reasons why I decided to make some notes as I was reading. I just filled out little recaps of lots of recaps of each section. I didn't want to come back to Musashi and be like, okay, what exactly happened? Where did I leave off? And so having this little summary that I wrote down was very helpful because I could just read through it and say, oh yes, that's right. And then I was able to pick it back up. I was reading the first 2 parts, Earth and Water. I had stopped at Water so that I could read a couple of Christmas books. And then after that, I ended up reading some other books and then some other books. And all of a sudden it is June and I was like, I want to start reading Musashi again. And so having like a 5-6 month break before I started reading Fire, it was a very good thing that I had this to look at. So to begin, I just wanted to say that I really love this book so far. I am enjoying all of the characters. They're all very interesting to me and different. Just everything that I have read so far, I've just thoroughly enjoyed. And so I'm really excited to continue to read it and to finish it. And if you are a little worried about like trying this yourself, because it is over 900 pages, I would just suggest doing what I did. Just take a little summary of it and then take a break if you need to read something else, if that's going to make it easier for you, rather than trying to read 900 pages all at once. I don't know if there is an audiobook out there for this. If there is, you could try that route and that might be easier to get through it. But I personally love having the book in my hands because I can see how the spelling of the names are. It can help me keep track better of, and if I forget something that I didn't write down in my summary, I can flip back, and it's very easy and accessible to just have the physical copy. Yes, it's a big boy, but it definitely is helpful for me to be able to go back. And I just love the feel of the pages in this edition. I know there's another edition that came out that's a really cool looking cover as well. So this one, it's just got like really thin pages and the text is really small, yes, and so that makes it even longer to get through some sections. But I love the feel of it. I love the look of it. I just would recommend having the physical copy if you can. But I am going to go into some spoilers, so if you don't want to have any knowledge about this before you read it, then sorry, come back to this video later. It's just too big of a book for me to not say something that could be like a spoiler for that particular section of the book, you know? Anyway, let's start with book 1, which is Earth. We start with a battlefield scene where the battle's over, and waking up from this battle is Takezo, and Takezo is Musashi, but before he was called Musashi, that was his name. And he's waking up from the battle. He survived, but he's injured. His friend Marahachi is also injured, but like alive. And so they get up and they go find some shelter in a home that's kind of nearby. The mom and the daughter that live there, they reluctantly let them in. They didn't really want to be caught with them at their house, but they let them in for the time being and helped them kind of get back to full health so that they can hopefully move on somewhere else. And while they're there, they meet the girl whose name is Akemi, and she is kind of smitten with Musashi, or with Takezo. And Takezo decides to leave, but Marahachi decides to stay behind. And he ends up like marrying Akemi's mom, even though the age difference is there. And like, yeah, so it's kind of weird, but that's what Marahachi decides to do. And Takezo leaves and finally gets back to his hometown, and meanwhile, people there have just assumed it's been so long that there's no way they could have survived, or they would have seen him by now. So they're kind of mourning the loss of the two boys, even though they don't have any proof that they're actually gone. And Otsu is one of our other main characters, and she refuses to believe that they are gone until she has proof. She's actually supposed to be marrying Marahachi when he comes back, and so that's another reason why she's been so not accepting of this idea of him being gone. But when Takezo comes back and Marahachi does not, he tries to tell them that, you know, he's well and everything, but he's just not coming back. And Marahachi's mother does not approve of this. Like, she's like, okay, cool. But then she blames Takezo for everything. She's like, you're the reason that he didn't come back. You're the reason that he didn't have, like, the life he's supposed to have, and, like, all these things. And so she's so upset and doesn't believe anything that he says. And then she ends up seeing Atsu, like, kind of, like, with Takezo at some point, and is like, oh my gosh, and now you're gonna steal his fiance from him. And so she has this like horrible feeling about the two of them and wants to like kill both of them. So she's on this like revenge or vengeance kind of mission for like the rest of up till book 3 that I'm at. She's like, every time we get back to her part of the story, she's like on a mission, still searching, trying to find Takezo to kill him for ruining her son's life and reflecting it bad on her as well. Now, Otsu actually did end up finding a letter that was from Marahachi that explained all of this, that she was like, he said, I'm sorry, I'm actually going to be staying here, and I've been married, and you please don't wait for me and just move on. And she decides not to tell his mother about the letter because she's still kind of like, you know, she feels embarrassed of like, I can't believe that this man I was supposed to marry, that I care for, has chosen to leave me and do this to me. And she just kind of couldn't really bear it to say it out loud. There's also this samurai, this head leader samurai, who found out that Takezo was alive, and that he actually killed somebody. I kind of did not explain this part very well, but earlier on he kills somebody, and so he's kind of starting to become very like I don't know, rageful, but also like trying to just show that he's strong and everything. And so he ends up doing some things that puts him on a bad list. And also the fact that he survived the battle, people are looking for him for that too. And so he's kind of on the run after this point. And Marahachi's mom like tries to turn him in, so he has to like flee. And for weeks he's just kind of hiding in the mountains, and nobody can find him. And finally, there is this priest that Atsu is kind of close with, and he's like, I know how to bring him back. And so he goes up to the mountains and tells Atsu to play her flute, so she starts playing the music, and it draws Musashi out, or Takezo out. And when that happens, he kind of convinces him, like, I won't turn you in, you won't die, please just come down and we'll make some kind of arrangement. And it turns out that they decided that his punishment, instead of being killed right away, they would just tie him to a tree, and he would die on this tree. And so he ends up getting tied to this tree, and then it's really bad weather, and Atsu starts to feel really bad for him, so she goes and helps him escape, and it cuts him down and helps him escape. And she's like, please let me come with you. And he's like, no, my path is too dangerous for you. Like, I need to become a better samurai. I need to learn the way. I need to be able to progress on my own. She's really hurt by that, and she decides that she is just going to try to search for him and find him anyway, because she wants to be with him anyway. He does end up turning himself into one of the samurai leaders, because his sister, because he has a sister, and she's kind of a minor character, like a pretty minor character. She's not really in it very much at this point, but apparently she was imprisoned, and so he needs to get her out. So he sneaks in, he knows he's going to get caught, but he needs to rescue his sister. Turns out his sister was released like the day before, and so he gets caught for kind of no reason. And when this happens, they just like put him in prison for like 3 years, and during this time he reads a lot, and he starts to learn the way of samurai, and he starts to get better and stronger. And so finally, when they let him go, he realizes that because he's become kind of a new version of himself, he needs a new name, and this is where Musashi comes from. And it's because it's the same spelling as Takezo, but just, I guess in Japanese you can have spellings that are similar, but they can be different words. I mean, I guess we have that in every language, but Musashi, he decides to take on that name instead, Maemoto Musashi. And now he is this new, kind of has this new persona of him, and this is his strong version of himself. So he decides what he needs to do is defeat a bunch of really powerful samurais, and to show that he is stronger and everything, and that he has that strength to do that. That is kind of where we end book 1, Earth, and then we start with book 2, Water. So he starts going to different schools that is basically a school for this kind of learning, for samurais learning and stuff. So the first school that he goes to is Yoshioka, and that is where we meet Seijuro. That's the like leader of the school, because his father used to be, and he's not as good as his father. He's kind of let his skills go by the wayside. And this is one of our main characters, actually, becomes a main character, but he is part of this school, and he ends up, I think, not being there for when Musashi comes. Musashi comes, and he ends up defeating a lot of the people there, and then he's like, okay, well, yeah, obviously I'm better than you guys. So then he like is gonna go to the next school town, and in the meantime, he meets this kid named Jotaro, and Jotaro's like, please let me go with you. And again, Musashi's like, I can't have people coming around and following me and stuff. Jotaro really wanted a leader, someone to teach him how to be a samurai himself. So he reluctantly agrees to let him come along, and they have some interesting adventures together, and at some point they get separated. And before they get separated, there's like this crazy part where they go to the next school to try and defeat the samurai there, and he gets into more trouble here, and the kid also gets into some trouble. And so when they're trying to like run away, Musashi like takes Jotaro and like throws him at people to like knock them down, and I was like, what the? And it's just like that. There's a couple of like really cool scenes in here, these fight scenes, or how it describes how he uses his sword, or using Jotaro as a weapon, and like different things like that were really cool to read, that I really enjoyed. The details of those scenes are so fun to read. And eventually they get separated because he says, I need a letter to be sent to Marahachi to tell him that I really do want to meet him, and I'll meet him on the new year at this certain bridge. And so Jotaro has to go and deliver this, and he can't find Marahachi at the house because Marahachi's fed up. He decided he's gonna leave, and he shouldn't have got married to this old lady. And so he's like, I need to make a name for myself, and because he heard of Musashi, and he has an idea that it's probably Takezo. And so he's like, I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna find a way to become better. And so he is not there, and so Akemi happens to come back into the picture, that girl from the beginning, and she's a little older now, because of course we had that 3-year gap where Takezo was in prison. And she's like, oh, I can deliver it for you. So he gives the message to her so that she can to give it to Marahachi, which now it's in her hands and everything. She's gonna have a hard time being able to find him to give him that note. But it turns out now Akemi is with Seijuro from the Yoshioka school, And so now they are main characters because they ended up being like together for a decent part of book 3, which is Fire. So let's talk a little bit about book 3 now. 3 actually starts with Marahachi's perspective on how he is really sad and like working in this like rock moving place to help with like construction, and he's like, wow, I did not do what I said I was gonna do. I'm like still not good enough to be like taken seriously and to be able to show myself to anybody, to my family. Like, I'm a shameful person right now. So he is in the process of trying to figure out his stuff, and eventually, not on purpose, ends up running into his mom and Uncle Gon, who have Uncle's been accompanying his mom this whole time to try and find and kill Otsu and Musashi. And so they're still on this like quest of for months trying to find him to kill him, and have been unsuccessful, but ended up finding his her son Marahachi. So Marahachi lies to her and says that he's like from this prestigious like samurai school, that he's gonna become a teacher now and like all this stuff. And he stole a certificate. Well, he didn't steal it. He got a certificate from an actual samurai who died and had that in his possession, so he covered the name and just showed her like this, so it looked like it was a certificate for him, but it was actually not his. And so she thinks that he's actually doing fine. They start traveling together because he tells her all this, no, she tells him all this horrible stuff that is mostly not true about Musashi and Atsu and stuff, and so trying to get him on her side of like, we gotta go defeat them. And so we kind of leave that storyline for a second to go back to learning about this other samurai who, this is the part that I'm a little confused on, because I believe that this samurai is the samurai that died and Marahachi stole his identity, kind of for his mom's sake, and kind of said that that's who he was. But then we have the story of him being alive on a ship traveling, and he eventually meets Sejuro, and Sejuro's like, you need to stay with me because Musashi is going to come. He wrote me a letter saying that he was going to come back to our school and when I'm actually here and have another rematch, basically, from the first time he visited the school. And so he's like, you being here in my corner would be a good idea. And so the samurai's like, yeah, okay, I'll stay with you. Musashi finally gets to this bridge. He like injured his foot. He's been through a lot. I'm just gonna go through this quick so that there's not as many spoilers. But he gets through a lot of pain and stuff, and then he gets to the bridge finally where he's recovered. And there are so many like instances where he almost runs into Jotaro and Atsu, because those two ended up meeting by fate, and so they've been hanging out together, and they found out that they're looking for the same person, so they're like, this is perfect, let's try to find him together. And they almost find each other so many times, but then Musashi leaves right before they meet. And so finally Atsu knows that he's going to be at this bridge, that she can finally see him. But Akemi also shows up because she like ran away. She tried running away from Sejuro to actually be with him, because from the very beginning of the book she like had the hots for him, and so she's like, no, I really want to be with you. So Musashi's just kind of like okay, and like not really focusing on her too much, because he knows he's supposed to be on this bridge because he thinks Marahachi is supposed to be meeting him here because the letter, but Marahachi never got the letter, so Marahachi didn't know he was supposed to be meeting Musashi at this bridge. So Musashi's kind of distracted about that. Akemi's trying to confess her love, and then Atsu is like from afar about to go to the bridge, but then sees this other woman there and is like, she's immediately just like, oh no, now I can't go over there. I can't show my face now because there's another girl over there. And just totally chickens out and doesn't go over there. And Jotaro's like, come on, you really have been trying to find him for so long, and now that he's in front of you, you're not even gonna go up there. Like, just go up there and like just show your presence. And she fumbles because she just lets her emotions like think the worst about this situation that she's seeing from afar. But that's essentially where the end of the book 3, Fire, is at. So hopefully some of my ramblings made sense about the things that are going on in this first section of this book. It's not quite halfway through because like I said, there are 7 books, and I have read the first 3 books. Book 4 is Wind, and then we have Book 5, Sky, Book 6, Sun and Moon, Book 7, The Perfect Light. All the books are kind of evenly separated out. They're all about like 100-ish pages for each section. So I am at page 377, and that is the first 3 books. And so they're a little over 100 pages each. So we'll see if that continues going in that kind of direction with the length of each one. But I am excited to see what happens next. I love following Musashi around, seeing what he's gonna do, seeing what kind of choices he makes, whether he's gonna kill someone or spare someone or just humiliate them, or like what's he gonna do. Thank you so much for watching my thoughts about the first part of Musashi, and hopefully it won't take me too much longer to finish, to be able to get part 2 of this video out soon, so that I can know exactly how my full thoughts are on the entirety of this samurai epic novel, book, saga thing. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.